Glenn OldManWithaCam here, and welcome to my channel. We're not going to let this rain dampen our spirits. Today we've got a few exciting things to see. I'll also be sharing some facts that I've learned about the Beatles that you may not know. So let's get 'em moving. There it is. Now, I haven't quite figured out why this is here, but we're out in the middle of, this is actually Benton, Illinois, and this is here. George Harrison. I'm gonna have to look up some history on why that is here in Benton, Illinois. It was the early 1960s, and across the pond there was a group over in England that was changing the musical scene. The four young men in this group, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, collectively known as the Beatles, they were so popular in their little town of Liverpool that sometimes they would perform up to 4 shows a day. With this popularity brought a demanding performance schedule, which left them little time for themselves. Eventually, they did decide that what they needed was some downtime, and so they were going to take a holiday. Paul and Ringo took their holiday in Greece. John took his in Paris. And as for George, he always wanted to visit New York City. Not knowing what the future was going to bring, he decided to go to New York City. After a few days of touring New York City, while still in the United States, George and his brother Peter, who had joined him at this time, decided they were going to go visit their sister Louise and their niece Leslie, who lived in Benton, Illinois. Louise, being George's #1 fan and supporter, could not help but tell her friend how proud she was of her brother George being such a famous musician back in England. There were many nights that George, Peter, and Louise would visit the local VFW to watch the local house band, the Four Vests, play. It was here that George would play many a night with the band, and whether it be his playing or his British accent that won the people over, everyone remembers the time a Beatle visited Benton, Illinois. Artist John Cerny erected this tribute alongside the highway for all the passers-by to remember that special moment in time when a Beatle visited Benton, Illinois. So, let's hit that road again. Well, we're back in Illinois on this rainy day, and we're looking for something special. I think I see it up ahead. Okay, we'll get there. There it is. Did you see it? Okay, we made it to Metropolis, Illinois. And here's one of the statues here. The Daily Planet, of course, she was one of the reporters. Lois Lane. Okay, let's go out and check the Man of Steel. And of course, what was Superman's foil? Does anybody know out there? You're right. It was kryptonite. And we have a giant chunk of it here. We're going to go over and see the Superman Museum. I don't think we're going to go in it. We don't have enough time this trip. And the kryptonite. That is cool. So we saw Lois Lane and the kryptonite. The next is the Man of Steel. Here we are. We're in Metropolis. Metropolis, Illinois. They have a museum in there. I'll tell you what, Jacob the Carpetbagger did a full video on whatever, he went through the whole thing. So I'll put a link to that in the description below. But look at this. There's the Man of Steel. And again, we have the museum over here. There's all kind of cool stuff hanging around the outside of this. Let's take a look at that. Action Comics. Ooh. Let's see if we can get a selfie with this. Action Comics. Can't really do it. Close, but no wheel. Superman, Man of Steel. Is that good or what? Of course, it is the super city, Metropolis. Let's take a look at the building real quick. Oh wow, they've got dedication bricks here. Yeah, again, Jacob the Carpetbagger was out here just recently, and he did a complete tour of the inside. Like I said, I'll put, oh, there's the phone booth. The Daily Planet. That looks like Steve Reeves. But here's the phone booth where he would change. That is kind of cool. There's the museum. Oh, is that cool or what? I don't know if you can see it, but there's a big boy, Superboy down there. Okay, we're gonna get back on the road again. But there he is, the Man of Steel. That's right, we're at Abbey Road Crossing. This is cool. Little park here. Beatles Park. It says, do the Beatle walk. Can we do that? Oh. The boys, the lads.
And loved here in America, here are the Beatles. Here they come. Hello, Paul. Hello, John.
The year is 1964, and the Beatles arrive in the U.S., New York City, to appear for the first of many TV appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show. This was to begin their 21-day, 32 concerts in 21 cities American tour. The British invasion was on. Performing so many concerts was exhausting, to say the least. Then you add the logistics of moving the four Beatles around for their shows, and that added even more stress to their life. On September 18, 1964, the group finished a concert in Dallas, Texas, and had 3 days downtime before their next concert in New York City. The pilot of their charter plane, Reed Pigman, owned a ranch just outside of Alton, Missouri, and offered it as a safe and secure place for the boys to get some rest and relaxation. To get there, though, would require them to switch to a smaller airplane. Once the concert in Dallas ended, they boarded their chartered plane and set out to Walnut Ridge, where there was an airport large enough to accommodate their aircraft. This is where they would switch planes. It was well past midnight when their plane circled the airport for a landing. The fact that the plane, with its landing lights on, was circling the Walnut Ridge Airport at such an hour piqued the curiosity of some townfolk. They had to drive out to the airport to see what was going on. When the small group of people arrived at the airport, imagine their astonishment when they saw the Beatles getting off of one plane and onto another smaller one, and then watching them take off into the midnight sky. They knew that the Beatles would be returning because their plane stayed there for the next several days. The news spread through the town like a wildfire, and several people camped out at the airport hoping to catch a glimpse of the Beatles as they returned for their plane. The Beatles spent the next 3 days at the ranch, relaxing and enjoying the ranch life, along with the hospitality of their hosts and the friendly people of Alton, Missouri. It was all over too soon, and they had to return to their tour schedule. But imagine their surprise when they got to the airport and there were over 300 people there waiting for them. To this day, people talk about that visit. The city even dedicated 2 areas as special parks in tribute to the Beatles. The first, they renamed a street Abbey Road in honor of their famous walk across that road. The second is Kavanaugh Park, which has a guitar walk. The guitar, embedded in the ground, is in the shape of John Lennon's Epiphone Casino. However, the park is dedicated to a number of musicians. The locals are loving it. Let's go over here and take a look at this. Here's something unique. They have an EV charging station right here. Love, love, love. Yeah, it's just a little alleyway here. It's called Abbey Road. Paul, John, Ringo, and George, the Beatles. One little thing over here they have. The yellow submarine. again, they have the lads. Again, they have the lads singing here. With a yellow submarine. And of course it is Abbey Road, Southwest. Really great. Okay, we'll hit that road again. It's just a little road cut in. Love, love, love.